This lesson for Math 1 is about slope. What is another phrase that means slope? Keywords you need to look for are rate of change. Rate of change. The formula for finding slope from 2 points is m equals, so the letter for slope is an M, and it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So it's the y minus the y from the point over the x from the x on the bottom. What you need to make sure that you remember is that slope is the rise or the fall over the run. Well, if you think about the rise and the fall, that's this way. So these are your y values, and that's why y's go on top. And your run is this way, and those are your x's, and that's why your x's go on the bottom. The most common mistake is for students to put the x's on the top and the y's on the bottom. So y's on top. Remember, y's come second in your point. So if I give you 2 points and I ask you to find the slope, we're not going to graph these. We're just going to use our formula. So remember, the formula is m equals y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. The subscript numbers here are just telling you that if you pick this y first on top, then you must pick this x first on the bottom. Same thing with the distance formula. So y minus y. So there's a y and there's a y. So 4 minus 3 over, and your x's are this one, and since we picked the 4 first, the 3 has to go first on the bottom. So 3 minus a negative 2. You're going to do your plus plus just like we did with the distance formula. 4 minus 3 is 1, and 3 plus 2 is 5. So my slope is 1/5. Now what this means is rise 1, run 5. So if I started here, I'd go up 1, and then I'd run 5. So my line would look like that. Up 1, right 5. So find the slope of 1, 6, and 2, 3. So we're going to do the same thing. M equals, I'm going to do my y minus my y. So 6 minus 3 over, and I'm going to do my x's. 1 minus 2. And 6 minus 3 is 3. And 1 minus 2 is a negative 1. Once you get to this point, you're always going to reduce if you can. And 3 divided by a negative 1 is a negative 3. That's your answer. Now what that means for slope, when you just have a whole number, you're going to think of it as over 1. What does the negative mean? Well, instead of rising, we are now going to fall 3 and run 1. So if I started here, I'd fall 3 and run 1. So a negative slope is a line that goes down. Okay, so then we have some special cases. Find the slope of 6, 3, and 6, negative 5. So we're going to do this the exact same way. So I'm going to do my y minus my y. So 3 minus a minus 5. So far, nothing different. But then when I do my x's, I'm going to have 6 minus 6. Go plus plus on the top. 3 plus 5 is 8. 6 minus 6 is 0. When people get here, a lot of times they make a wrong call and they put 0 or they'll put 8. And the answer is actually undefined. You can't ever divide by 0. If you forget, if you'll punch it into your calculator and do 8 divided by 0, your calculator should tell you error, unable to divide by 0. Now, the slope may be undefined, but does that mean the line is undefined? And the answer is no. I can plot these 2 points. If I did 6, 3, and 6, negative 5, There are those 2 points. I can draw a line through them. All it means is if your denominator is 0, it just means you're going to have a vertical line. Every time the denominator is 0 and your slope is undefined, the line still exists. It just happens to be a vertical line. So let's look at number 4. Again, y minus y over x minus x. So y is on top. 2 minus 2 over negative 3 minus a negative 5 plus plus. 2 minus 2 is 0. Negative 3 plus 5 is 2. 0 divided by 2 is not undefined. It's actually 0. And if you forget, you can always type it into your calculator, and your calculator will tell you it's a 0. So what this means, and this is his slope. Let's plot these 2 points and see what this looks like. So negative 3, 2, and negative 5, 2. So this is what kind of a line? A horizontal line. So when your slope is 0, your line will always be horizontal. When your slope is undefined, your line will always be vertical. 0 on the bottom means we're undefined. 0 on the top means we're just 0. Steps for finding slope on a graph. So in this problem, I have a graph and I need to find the slope. The first thing I need is to find 2 points. So I have to find 2 points where it crosses a point exactly. And I love this one right here. I love intercepts. It does not seem to cross on the x-axis at an exact point. Let's see what else we can find. I like this one right there. Okay, so then I'm going to use my slope formula. So my 2 points, the first point was 0, 3, and the second point was negative 2, negative 1, and then I just use my slope formula. Y minus y over x minus x. Plus plus on both of them. 3 plus 1 is 4. 0 plus 2 is 2. I can reduce that, so I'm gonna, and I get a 2. That's my slope. Remember, when you have a whole number, it's always, think of it as always over 1. So what this means is I'm going up 2, and I'm going to run 1. So let's see if it's right. We start here, and we go up 2, run 1, up 2, run 1, and we're right on that line. So here we have a graph. So my first step is to find 2 points. So I don't like either one of my intercepts. I do like this guy. And I kind of like this guy. Now when you have 2 points, you can write down the coordinates for the point, or there's a little trick you can do. You're going to always start on left point. So between these 2 points, which one is farthest to the left? And that's this one. So I'm always going to start on the left-hand point. And then remember, slope is the rise or the fall over the run. Well, if I start at this point, am I going to rise or fall to get to the next point? And the answer is fall. So I know that my top number is going to be negative. And I'm going to fall how much? 1, 2, 3. So negative 3 is my top number. Now I'm going to run 2. And there's my slope. So remember, if you always start on the left-hand point, you will always run to the right. If you rise, your slope's going to be positive, and if you fall, your slope's going to be negative. So find the rate of change. Well, this is a horizontal line. If you go back to these two, which one of these is a horizontal line? And the answer is number 4. And what is the slope of a horizontal line? The answer is 0. You don't have to count anything. You just need to know that the slope of any horizontal line is 0. Also notice it asks for the rate of change, which is just another word for slope. Number 8, find the slope. Well, this is a vertical line, and the slope of every single vertical line is what? Undefined. Again, it doesn't mean the line is undefined. The line exists. It's right there. But it does mean that its slope is undefined. So again, if it is a horizontal line, your slope is 0. If it is a vertical line, your slope is undefined. Number 9, what is the rate of change of this table? Rate of change is another word for slope. And the formula for slope is y minus y over x minus x. Well, in this table, this column are my x's and this column is my y's. So it's kind of like saying I have these points. Okay, well I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 points. We only need 2 points to find the slope. You can pick any 2 points you want. I'm just going to take the top 2. Now remember, it's y minus y, so the y's have to go first. So I'm going to do 150 minus 1150 over, now do your x's, and since this y came first, this x has to come first. 10 minus 110. Well, 150 minus 1,150 is negative 1,000. 10 minus 110 is negative 100. And if you divide these two, you get 10. So the rate of change for this table is 10. Now just to prove a point, let me show you that you can pick any points you want. So let's pick this guy and this guy. So y minus y. So we have 950 minus 220 over 90 minus 17. Well, 950 minus 220 is 730. 90 minus 17 is 73. And 730 over 73 is 10. So notice you get the same slope. You can pick any 2 points you want out of this chart. They don't have to be side by side. As long as you do the y minus the y over the x minus x, you will get the correct slope or rate of change. So what is the slope of this table? Okay, so I'm going to pick 2 points. I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to take this guy just to spread it out, just for kicks. So y minus y over x minus x. So my y's would be 15 minus 45 over 1 minus 6. 15 minus 45 is a negative 30. 1 minus 6 is a negative 5. And negative 30 divided by negative 5 is positive 6. My rate of change is 6. The attendance on the first day of the carnival was 425 people. The attendance on the third day was 575 people. Assuming the attendance is linear, what is the rate of change? Which we know is another word for slope. So we're going to use our formula. But I don't have any points. So I have to take the information that's in this problem and translate it into points. So it says, on the first day of the carnival, the attendance was 425 people. There's my first point. So what would the next point be? On the third day, the attendance was 575. So now I have my 2 points. 425 minus 575, those are my y's, over 1 minus 3. That's negative 150 over negative 2, which gives me 75. 75 is my slope, my rate of change. Now, what does that mean for this problem? And we'll get into a little bit more of that tomorrow. But what this means is every day, if it continues at this rate, my attendance is increasing 75 people every day. Ashley bought a car for $15,000 and its value depreciated, that means goes down linearly. After 3 years, the value was $11,250. What was the amount of yearly depreciation? So I want the slope, but I don't have any points, so I need some points. A lot of people on this one will start with a 1, but when you buy a car, how old is it? It's 0. So 0, 15,000. Notice I'm not going to put any commas in my 15,000 because I don't want it to get confused with this comma in my point. Then after 3 years, the value is 11,250. To find my yearly depreciation, my rate of change, that is my slope. So 15,000, watch your zeros, minus 11,250 over 0 minus 3. Now, should this answer be positive or negative? It should be negative because she's losing money every year she owns the car. So that should give me $3,750 positive over, well, 0 minus 3 is a negative 3. When you divide that on your calculator, you get negative 1,250. So she is losing $1,250 every year. So the answer is C. And the reason they don't have a negative here is because they're already saying it's depreciation. So they know that the value is going down. They just want to know how much it's going down. Number 13, find the slope. They were really nice and gave us 2 very well marked points, and they even labeled them for us. So we could write these points out and use my slope formula. So y minus y over x minus x, which is 500 over negative 5, which is negative 100. Or you could count. Remember, slope is rise or the fall over the run. That's why it's y's over x's. So I'm going to fall. How much? 500. So negative 500. Negative because I'm falling. And then I'm going to run 5. And I still get negative 100. So either way you want to do it is fine. Okay. Let's walk through these two that I normally have my class do on their own. But we'll walk through them as just 2 extra examples. So it says, what is the slope of 7, negative 2, and 8, negative 1? Very straightforward. Gives you 2 points, and it wants you to find the slope. So remember, slope is y minus y over x minus x. So slope equals y minus y over x minus x. Negative 2 plus 1 is a negative 1, and 7 minus 8 is a negative 1. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is a positive 1. So my slope is 1. Number 2, find the rate of change. That just means slope. They gave me a graph. I like that point. And I like that point way down there. So if I'm going to count, I'm going to start at which point? The leftmost point. So that's this guy. And then I'm going to fall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Down 8. Now I'm going to run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That does not divide. It does not reduce. So that is my slope.